to Autism Me Goodness. My name is Tiffany. As you can see, I'm not in my office at home. I'm in a cabin in the woods. I know I've mentioned it before. It's my little getaway that I've found to come and kind of recharge, do nothing. Got some crafts, some books. But yeah, I'm just going to be here for the next 2 days. Just, living my best life in the woods. Yeah, gonna try to start a fire. Hopefully I don't light my hair on fire. We're gonna tie that back before we do that. But yeah, haven't seen you guys in a while. Figured I'd give you some updates and then talk about some new things that I've learned. Yeah, so we'll get into that in a minute. But from a James 2 update perspective, I know I'd mentioned before that he's done this it's kind of like a little retreat with On My Own of Michigan, where it's called Independence Prep Weekend, where they take special needs folks, young adults, for a weekend trip where they're able to kind of navigate through things on their own. They stay at a hotel. He has his own hotel room, and they do activities for the weekend. So he did that again this past weekend before last. He enjoyed it again. I also get a progress report. He did pretty well in the progress report as well. So yeah, because he liked that weekend prep thing so well, they have an extension program that we had signed him up for as well, where 2 Mondays a month they have activities at the facility. So he, like, one activity of the month, they do something on site. And then the second activity, they do an outing. So he's done mini golf. He's done a trip to the cider mill. And he's done some activities like at the facility as well, where they kind of work on things like, I think they've done things with like money management and things like that. So just kind of adding to the experience of, getting him used to being independent or understanding what it means to be independent. So yeah, those are kind of some of the cool things he's been able to do. Also, I found in Livonia, there's a cafe called Anastasia and Katie's Cafe. I will be sure to put the name down there in case I miss. I know it's Anastasia and Katie. I think it's Anastasia and Katie's Cafe. It's in Livonia. And they are a cafe that hires people with special needs. And once a month, they have a thing called the Good and Strong Club, where they have an actual event where they get folks together, and they kind of, it's a social kind of club. They get together, have a little party. I think it's like a pizza party, but they also do activities where they'll assemble like kind of care bags for charities. And they also do karaoke. So he did that also as well. Yeah, just kind of, I asked him if he wanted to do it first. So, disclaimer, anything that I'm mentioning that he's doing, I've asked him beforehand before I signed him up. I'm not just randomly signing him up for things. So he's an adult. I want to make sure he wants to do it, so he's engaged and he understands what it is and all that. So I found it. I asked him if he was interested in going, trying it out, see what that's about. So he was interested. So we went, I said, do you want me to stay or do you want me to leave? He said, I'm good to leave. So I just dropped him off at the cafe. They were waiting for him. They had, because you pre-register, they were waiting for him. They had a little name tag for him. So I dropped him off. He was there for maybe 2 hours. Came back to pick him up. He said he had a good time. I'll drop in some pictures from that too. But yeah, he had a good time. He said he did karaoke. He said he did Jingle Bell Rock. So I have no footage of that to know. So I'm just going to take his word for it. He said it's something he wants to do again. So I'm trying to just find opportunities and things to get him involved in where it's, social aspects to it, because, socializing is hard for him. So I'm trying to kind of put him in spaces where, he can, have those opportunities to, practice socializing and all the things we just kind of naturally do, but just kind of putting him in there because, he is a likable person and he tends to people tend to gravitate towards him, but just trying to get him to being able to interact more. And he wants to, it's just him trying to understand how to. So those are some James 2 updates for him. So this other thing I'm going to get into is the big James update, where it's not nothing bad, but So I know I've rambled on several videos now at this point about IEPs, and those are specific to your school. So if you have a child with special needs or anyone that has any type of maybe learning disability or needs some extra help, you have an IEP set with the school, and it breaks down the plan of how to care for your child while they're in school, what goals you need to work on, any special supports. It basically is, setting up the plan of what's required or needed for your child to be in school and the supports that the school has to provide you. So I've learned there's another thing out there called a IPOS. So this is not school related. This is for on the adult side. So remember, we're in adult transition land. He does go to school, but it is a school for adults as a post high school program. So we're in IPOS land. So he does have IEP through the school. That's still intact. But now there's this other thing. So I'll explain that. So we got connected with his school with an organization called CLS, Community Living Services, I believe is the acronym. And their whole focus is to help with any community living support and training. So the IPOS is a similar to an IEP. It is the I'm gonna make sure I remember. It is the, let me look it up, because individual plan of service is what IPOS stands for, and uh, that is more so for outside of school and, like I said, like community living support. So it's a plan that you would put together to set goals of things similar to IEP, goals of things that you want him to accomplish, and hopefully they're measurable, but that you want him to accomplish and things that you want him to work on. And it's, a plan that's put together and tracked, and you have support staff to kind of help him work through those things. Very similar to IEP when you think of like, at a school setting and a parapro. Very similar, but this is more on the kind of adult side and like kind of bringing an IEP to the real world, if you will. So we got connected with CLS, and we had an initial intake meeting with them. Geez, I want to say that was in July. To understand what his needs were and what things we were hoping to work with him on and things we were hoping to get support from. In addition to those type of things, I forgot to mention, they also offer services for respite. If you've never heard of respite, it's basically like respite hours is like basically you can call a timeout like as a special needs parent or caregiver, and you can have someone actually watch your loved one while you either go away, either like for the evening or go on vacation. They also provide like respite hours. Not necessarily something we need for James, because usually if we go anywhere for like a significant amount of time from a vacation standpoint, if he's not coming with us, he usually stays with family. So that wasn't necessarily something we needed. And if we go out like for an evening, he could stay home by himself for an evening. So, but yeah, those are some of the things at a high level that CLS works with. So we had the intake meeting to kind of, they can get to know us, get to know him, and understand what his needs are, skills are, and what things he's currently doing and all that. So from that intake meeting, they connected us with a support coordinator. We got a resume for her and see kind of her background. And the support coordinator is the person that you work with to put your IPOS together. So, and like you actually document it and put it together, and kind of walk you through the full process. So when we met with the support coordinator, she's amazing. Her name is Beth. And she kind of walked us through the process. She also got to know us and got to try to get some initial ideas before we start putting the IPOS together, of like what type of things that we were thinking that he could do and things he could work on. So then the other thing she told us is that, so in order to do this, we have to actually hire staff pretty much on our own, but I'll get to that in a minute. We have to hire like a staff or like 1+ people to help be able to support him to do these different things in the community. So for example, if it's we want him to work on being able to go to a grocery store and shopping, so they would have the support staff would kind of take him for however long, and like walk him through the process of how to shop. So it's basically like an extension of us, but they're taking him out of the community to do things like that. Do things like social activities, helping him kind of, navigate through social settings. Also job placement, where, they could also, a staff person could be like a job coach to kind of help him with, if he has an opportunity for some type of employment, kind of helping and coaching him and like helping him learn that job and all that. So it's a lot of stuff. So, so we had to hire staff. So when she said that, I kind of gave her like the look like, okay, how exactly do I go about doing that? Because I don't really know of like people who do this really. So she said, well, you can, CLS has like a, well, I'm sorry, let me take a step back. So CLS is the organization we are working with to put together the IPOS one. But then when you hire staff and they're paid, because they're actually paid to do this, there's another company called GT Independence that coordinates the payment and like keeps track of all the hours and everything, because since he has SSI, he has Medicaid, so Medicaid will pay for this. So that's another reason to get SSI, so they can get Medicaid and they can pay for these type of services. GT Independence has like a list of folks that are like that do this kind of work often part-time, and that they're like is in their database, so they can kind of, if we didn't have anyone in mind that we want to hire, they sent out an email to like their mailing list of people who are interested in like this work, and to reach out to me for their interest. So we met with Beth, the support coordinator. She says, okay, you got an idea of the type of things we want to work for. Before we put the plan together, we need to get staff, because the staff also, GT Independence not only pays them, but they also coordinate all the training that they need to do. So they have to do training with like working with special needs. They have to have like, first aid training, CPR certified, all that stuff. So they coordinate all that, and all like background checks and all that. They coordinate all that. So you don't have to do any of that. They're the facilitator. So she connected me with GT Independence to kind of get things started. So they asked me again, do I have staff? I said, no, I don't have staff. They're like, oh, okay, well, we have a mailing list of people that we can reach out to that do this work often and that might be interested. So I will send out that blast and they'll contact you immediately. She sent the email out to her mailing list, and the amount of people that reached out to me was like, yikes. I guess it was very overwhelming, to say the least, because A, I've never done anything like this before, and B, I gotta hire people. I've hired people before, like in my real job, but like for something like this, it's kind of like, yeah, okay. So what I found, I'm laughing because the amount of people that reached out that were interested, and I said, okay, and then I explained like what we would need, type of work we need, and like, he's 19 years old, this type of things we need help with. And then I was like, if you're interested, send me your resume. I don't know if it's because of I've just been in the corporate world for so long, or I don't know, but a lot of people don't know how to do a resume or don't have a resume. So, well, a lot of people in this situation just didn't have one, or they had one. Like, example, there was a lady who sent me her resume, and she was like maybe, I don't know, in her like 60s, and or late 50s, and but she only had like 1 year of experience in caregiving. And it wasn't clear of what type of caregiving she was doing in the resume. It sounded like she helped like, elderly people, but it didn't sound like she would be able to do the type of work that I'm looking for. And also there was just issues with people just don't know how to use email properly. They were like using email like as a text. So like they would send me something and then send me another email that send me, like they would doing it like a text. I'm like, this is email. This is not how you communicate via email. This is weird. So just trying to get, and I also told James Sr., like, I'm not trying to be harsh, but if I'm going to have you with my son, helping him and navigating him, I don't want a dummy. So I don't know a better way to say that. I need someone that's, with it, capable, understanding. Like, I don't want just anybody. Like, I want someone who, like, you're a good role model for him. Maybe that's me. I don't know. But I just don't want someone. I want someone who at least is smart and capable enough to navigate through email, be able to send a resume that makes sense, that didn't look, I don't know what she sent me. It was crazy. But like, I'm just telling you, some of the resumes I saw was like, yikes. So, but yeah, I think out of the maybe 30 people that reached out to me, maybe 3 looked decent enough to maybe to consider. But then it was like, once I would reach out to people, like it was one lady that I reached out to, and I said, if you're interested, send your resume. And then she said, oh, well, I'm at work right now, I can't send my resume. I'm like, oh, okay, well, just, when you are available, send your resume. And then she reached back, hey, do you still need somebody? I'm like, well, yeah, you're supposed to send me. I never got your resume. I never saw her resume. She was like, yeah, I sent it. And I was like, I don't know who you sent it. I never got it. Well, it was just weird. It was a very weird experience. I don't know what to say. But just, if you're ever in this situation where you are working on IPOS and you need to have staff for this and trying to hire someone for it, yeah, it was not, I did not enjoy that experience. So what I actually ended up doing, and Beth, our support coordinator, gave me this idea. His school has parapros. A lot of parapros actually do this as like a part-time job in the evening. So I reached out to our school's support coordinator and his teacher to ask, hey guys, this is what we're doing. We're working on IPOS. We have a support coordinator for that, but need to hire a staff person to kind of help, help carry out the IPOS plan. Do you have any recommendations? So they, of course, my school people are always super receptive. They're amazing. They say, yeah, we're having like a meeting. We'll get back to you to see if there's any interest. So they reached back out. Hey, we have a person that would be great with James. Because when Beth had asked with James, she asked James directly, hey, would you prefer a male or female to be your staff person? He said male, which I was surprised because he does love the ladies. But to this point, I think he, like, just hanging out, I think he would just prefer to hang out with a male. So our school had recommended a parapro that would be great with him, to work with him, and gave me his name. So I reached out to him and said, hey, I understand you're interested in supporting James, after school for the IPOS. Is that something you're really interested in? He said, yeah. So I was able to get on the phone with him, talk to him briefly. And I was sold, and I had asked James, I was like, do you know this young man? He's a young man. He's like in his early 30s, so to me, he's a young man, but he's a very sweet young man. So I asked James, hey, do you know this guy? Yeah, I know him. He's cool. So James was on board with having him be a support person. So he came over our house. We got to sit and meet with him and talk to him, and he's really cool. So we're gonna work through, since they're both at school together, is like basically kicking into like the activities for the IPOS directly after school. So we're working out logistics for that. So I say all that to say, if you're in the situation where you have IPOS and you have to get staff for the IPOS, try reaching out to your school first to see if there's possibly a parapro that might be interested in doing this as a part-time job. It's like $19 an hour. Well, it is like I don't know if that's just a Michigan thing or like how it's set up, but that's what we're set up on, is that's the budget for it. It's $19 an hour. Not sure of the number of hours we're going to get for it just yet. So we just put our plan together, and I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, I mean, decent part-time job. It's something that they would be familiar with anyway. And even better, since if they're from your school, then your son or daughter would already know them. So yeah, I wish I would have thought of that earlier before getting inundated with all these random folks and their lack of resume skills. I don't want to sound snooty, but it's just like, I don't know. I've just applied and interviewed for many, many jobs over the years, and like having a resume that, like, I guess I just learned that back in like high school, is like having your resume and like the way you present yourself for a job is very important. And I would say especially a job that requires you to care for someone's loved one. Like, I don't want someone that doesn't pay attention to details. I don't want someone who can't navigate how to use an email. Like, I don't want you to help my son through life. I don't. So if that makes me sound like a snooty person, then I guess I'm a snooty person. I don't really care. But he's mine, and I don't want any just rando that don't know how to do simple things to help him do things. Like, if he can, James can navigate email. I don't want him coming in having to teach you how to do email. Like, no, that's not. Nah. So like, he needs to be able to look to you and be able to trust you and be able to know that you can handle details. Like, when you're working with someone with autism, picking up on things and like, minor nuances and like cues, triggers, those are all very important things. And like, full stop. I mean, I joked before I said I don't want a dummy, but hey, if you are with someone, I'll speak to like James. If you're with him and you notice a change in his behavior or change in something, like, you have to kind of pick up on that or notice that as you like get to know him. You have to, if he's having trouble with something, you have to know how to kind of be able to like restructure things. You have to be able to be nimble, because if, whatever, you're working with someone with special needs. So, and just with him, he's usually a go with the flow guy. But if there's something that happens that triggers him and he gets anxious and you don't pick up on that, or you haven't picked up on any type of nuances with him, like, I don't know. It's just the way you represent yourself and the way you put yourself out there for a job, one, and two, for a job that's requiring you to care for someone's loved one with special needs. It's like, yeah, I don't, thanks, but no thanks. But yeah. So, yeah. So, I mean, like I said, out of all of that, I did get like maybe 2 or 3 that were like, worth moving forward, but some people didn't respond back or whatever. And I ended up finding someone at a school that ended up working out. You do have the opportunity to hire more than one person. So right now we just have the one guy from James's school. When we started putting the IPOS together, we talked about if it's a potential for James to also do things on the weekend. Brandon would necessarily be the person that would do that because the distance he lives away, it's easier for him to just do something after school. So there may be a second staff person that's introduced at some point. So more to come on that, but right now we have the one guy for now. So once we got the staff established, we met with GT Independence, and they basically set up all his kind of like new hire paperwork and all that, and all the different training classes he has to take, certifications he needs to do, which luckily he had most of the certifications already, being a parapro. So that was good. Talking through how he tracks his hours on the app. I have to approve his timesheet every week. So, okay. Fun never ends. So I have to approve a timesheet. It's actually really cool. I can just do it through a portal. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, we did that initial setup. It was basically like a kickoff with the GT Independence team. And so basically the way it's set up, James the second is his employer, essentially. But they handle like all of the tax information and all of the different functions of like an employer. So we don't have to actually do that. The only thing I really have to do is approve his hours and his timesheet every week when we get going. So yeah, so very interesting thing that I knew nothing about. So like I said, in this world, you're going to learn something a little new every day. I've never in my life heard of IPOS until I started this whole process. So for all of you people who have, still have school-age children and you think you've mastered IEPs, you haven't. Wait till you get to the IPOS and you got to start hiring staff and shit. So, but anyway, it's all for a good cause. I'm very interested to see how it goes. We even talked a little bit about possible opportunities for him to like get some job experience. Our support coordinator, she knows like of a few things like through a hospital. So probably more to come with that too. But yeah, so I'm very interested to see how this all goes. So we put the IAPOS together. We met last week to do that with the support coordinator. So we actually documented the plan. So we got that set. Within the next, I think 14 days, I'll have like the plan in the mail. They'll give you a budget, like that's pretty much the number of hours that you're allotted for your staff to do to work with him, like on the plan. We'll figure out like scheduling check-ins. We'll figure out like progress updates. We started out part of the plan, when we put in the plan, like we have a social bucket, we have a social bucket, like independency type of bucket, and then we also have like a job skills bucket. And so for the job skills bucket, I think we kind of put in a range, like somewhere between 6 to 10 hours. But like we'll maybe start, like if we have an opportunity for him to do some type of employment training thing, we'll see how he does with 6 hours a week. If, it seems like he's handling that, this will be on top of him going to school, by the way. So if it seems like he's handling that pretty well, then we'll see how he does with 10 hours. So, and it might be a situation where it's a hybrid where he goes to school half of the day and then he does like work half the day. So, we'll kind of figure that out. But as far as the plan is concerned, that's like part of the plan to kind of sort through that. So yeah, we got to wait till the plan and the budget comes in the mail the next 2 weeks. So that's kind of next steps. So I will keep you guys posted on IPOS land. But yeah, there is always something new to learn in the land of autism and adult transition. Yeah, I guess I don't know how I feel about everything. I like to always try to put like a human part of how I like my feelings. Because I guess that's important to verbalize how you feel. I don't know. I just feel sometimes I beat myself up. I'm sorry, all the time I beat myself up because in my head I always thought that when he graduated high school, like maybe a year, and then he'll be like, he'll get employed. I thought things would move a lot faster for him. And not gonna lie, I feel like it's my fault a little bit. Like I feel like a bad parent sometimes. I don't want anybody. This isn't like looking for compliments or anything by any means. It's just how you feel. Like when you want things to move a lot faster, mainly for his sake, because I really want him to spread his wings. I really want him to be able to take on as much life as he can and have be fulfilled, have good experiences, and just be out in the world as much as possible and showing everybody he's awesome. He's awesome with autism. Awesome with autism. So yeah, part of me putting an IPOS together, yeah, it's a document. It's more, while I thought and wanted things to move a lot faster, I didn't have like an actual documented plan of how to get them to move faster. This actually helps put a plan together to track and to monitor and figure out how to progress and move him forward. So that is a good thing. I guess it's more of like, I got to go through another red tape, another process. I'm introducing another process or introducing another thing I got to track. It's just more of that. But I mean, it is positive. It is a good thing, but it's just more of like, I don't know. I just feel kind of like sometimes where, I just want things to happen for him. 'Cause he deserves it. He's a good kid and I want him to, I don't know. I just want him to, and I say kid, but I want him to be a grown up. Like, I really do. I want him to be a grown up and I want him to be fulfilled and I want him to be just able to just do without me. But that's just going to take a little bit longer than I thought. So we'll see how we get there. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's just it's hard. And I want it never gets easy. It just gets different levels of hard. So some days are good. I think most days are pretty good, but it's just you just get the reality kicked back in your teeth again, like, oh, he still isn't. Oh, he still can't. No, he still isn't. So I think he's shown and proved that he's more than capable of facing any challenges that are put in front of him. But I just want to make sure, I don't want to cry. I just want to make sure I'm giving him all those opportunities and staying on top of it. I think it's the staying on top of it thing. Is like, man, if I miss something, like, is that going to miss an opportunity for him to move forward? Is that going to miss an opportunity for him to get more resources? Like, what am I missing? What don't I know? I didn't know anything about IPOS. Luckily, I have, amazing school system, amazing staff that are able to help me kind of navigate me through. But it's like, I'm still figuring it out, like, real time too. So I just always am fearful that I'm missing something and that I'm missing an opportunity. So trying to get out of that. That's why I'm in the woods right now. So I could just decompress between like this and like just work and I just need time to just kind of sit, recharge. And that is important. Recharge, parents, not just autism, special needs parents. Well, especially us, because yikes. But all parents, stop running on fumes. Take your time where you can. It doesn't even have to be as big as going to a cabin in the woods. This just is awesome for me. But it doesn't have to be this. But it can be something as simple as just taking an hour and just try to find some time by yourself. Try to find some time to just sort through your thoughts. Like you just saw in real time, I'm just having problems verbalizing how I feel because I haven't really sat down with my thoughts. I've been just going like, I need to hire staff. Great. How do I do that? Like, I've just been going and haven't had a chance to just sit with my thoughts and just soak on it. So just try to take the time to don't punch down your feelings. Don't punch down your thoughts. You are allowed to feel, you are allowed to think, you are allowed to worry, you're allowed to question. Like, allow yourself to do all those things because that's normal. You're a human. You're not a robot. I have a really good friend. Sometimes she tries to be a robot. She's not a robot. Like, you can't be robo mom, super mom all the time, or super dad or robo dad all the time. You can't. It's not possible. You need time. And when you're faced with not typical scenarios with special needs, being a caregiver to your child, your adult child, that's just putting in a whole other dynamic. So you want to just make sure you save space to make sure that you're not bottling feelings and you're not taking the time to really, express and, get it out of you, and just take time. Just take time. Just, get some peace. But yeah, so those are all the updates. Not a lot, not a great deal. I mean, it's a lot, but it's not, I try not to just inundate with just rando things. I wanted to kind of get a collection. I wanted to kind of get through this IPOS process a little bit further, to be able to walk someone through it because it was a lot in real time. But, yeah, just interested to see what happens next. I will keep everyone posted if you're interested. But yeah, as always, if there's something specific you want to see on here, something you want me to talk about, I am going to eventually do one like just about getting to know me. So stay tuned for that. I got to sit right through that and plan that one out. But I thought this was important to get out there too, because this is something that's happening in real time from an adult transition perspective. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you have not already. And yeah, I hope to see you very soon.